So after weeks of cryptic teases, glitches, and QR codes, and us trying to work out every other step that they've been making, we think whatever is coming soon. With the very recent teases of France in all these QR codes, you gotta expect maybe with WWE Smackdown and WWE Backlash emanating from France, this is where we could get the big reveal. So now seems like the perfect time to try and guess, try and theorize who it is that opened the door and who might be in this group. Let's start with the more obvious, obviously going back to the Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal documentary and the WWE World, where they did show an exclusive video that revealed a silhouette that definitely resembles Uncle Howdy. This is why, since the very first tease, we've been predicting this is something related to Uncle Howdy. With Taylor himself in the Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal documentary stating he wants to continue his brother's legacy. How he does that, we don't know. Will Uncle Howdy evolve? We don't know. Now, with the story of the glitches seemingly being remember who you are, we assume Howdy's trying to recruit people. The first, most obvious person to join Howdy is Alexa Bliss. We haven't seen Alexa Bliss since January of last year, but we know she's had the baby end of November. We don't know how long she's going to be out for. We presume that she's going to be a part of this kind of group. So maybe the entire Remember Who You Are story would actually work for Alexa Bliss too. From what we saw previously with her encounters with Uncle Howdy, we thought Uncle Howdy was trying to bring the darkness out in Alexa Bliss. And obviously the final time we saw Alexa in kayfabe was obviously Uncle Howdy haunting her from her loss. Was this the moment that Dark Alexa Bliss awoke? Potentially. So therefore, we could see Alexa Bliss join the Uncle Howdy faction for sure. The next name, of course, is Erick Rowan. Erick, obviously an original member of the Wyatt family. Not only that, just yesterday, we got a major leak from PW Insider that Erick Rowan has signed with WWE. Coincidences, of course, do happen, but you've got all this cryptic stuff going on, a potential Uncle Howdy faction, and Erick Rowan signs a deal. I don't believe that's a coincidence. For that reason, I'm going to just say the first one, 100% Erick Rowan is joining this faction. I think we all agree with that, right? Braun Strowman, again, another name that always comes up, but with his recent return to WWE just on Monday Night's Raw, I don't know, I struggle with this one now, because I kind of think you just wait a little bit longer to return him. Now, that doesn't mean that Braun can't factor in the future, but I kind of feel like if he was part of the group, maybe they'd just hold off. The biggest clue I think we've had was this from the recent QR code that spoke, we assume, about Uncle Howdy not fixing people, but he just accepted them for who they are. Undoubtedly, at that point, you can only think of the wacky characters in WWE, the ones that normal society would want to change. However, Uncle Howdy is going to embrace and use their talents for his work. Mix that in with the very first QR code clue, and that was the hidden URL that you had to work out. No one has been able to decode this yet. I've seen people trying to solve this as an anagram of June 15 AD. The only problem with that is you don't write AD after a date, you write it after a year, and therefore no year is included unless we're waiting until 2051. The first major theory we had on the channel, of course, going back to the very first QR code video, was this, that each letter of this code represented the first letter of each individual's name. That was kind of backed up, when you got the second code that again hasn't been deciphered at all, and it seemed to spell out the last letters of each name, just with Rowan and Dexter's mixed up. Maybe to throw us off, potentially. And with the recent NXT QR code seemingly revealing what we think is Joe Gacy, is Joe Gacy a part of the group? Once again, it goes back to that code, and if we believe the original theory, potentially. I have seen the speculation and the idea and the theory that the 6th spot of this group should be reserved for Bray Wyatt. And I really do like that. I like the inclusion of Bray, because that's exactly what this faction should and probably is going to be about, Bray Wyatt. The only problem I have with it is that this is professional wrestling. This is WWE, and there has to be storylines based around Bray Wyatt. Now, whoever is in this group, this is still a wrestling faction, and one day it's going to break up. If Erick Rowan turns on the group, does that then mean he's turning on Bray Wyatt? Bray was inspired by and led by a mysterious Sister Abigail, a fictional character that we never actually saw on WWE television. Yet that character was involved in storylines, most notably when Randy Orton would burn the resting place of Abigail, the Wyatt compound where Sister Abigail was buried. And I just think, I as a fan, and I'm sure the participants in the faction and even the other wrestlers involved, probably wouldn't be comfortable doing the sports entertainment aspect of that storyline when Wyndham Rotunda to them was a very real person. And it's just disrespectful. Personally, I would love this faction to be a group of people who have been accepted by Uncle Howdy and have their own path. Yes, they can do things the way they perceive it to be, the Wyatt way, but having no real connection to Bray, just so you can do the sports entertainment aspect of this. Because at the end of the day, this still has to end one day. That would allow members to come and go, whether they turn on the group or the group turns on them, and potentially new members to be recruited, brainwashed into this new cult, and accepted into the family. Now, with all the references to France, the assumption is we're going to get the big reveal. However, we may not. We may just get a major revelation on the path of whatever this is going to be for Uncle Howdy. We don't know yet. However, obviously Nightbird is very similar in the way they return Bray Wyatt around the whole White Rabbit. And if Nightbird follows that same path, then what we could expect on Smackdown is a tease that leads to the reveal at Extreme Rules, this time Backlash. So potentially tomorrow night's Smackdown from France could be a very important show for the Nightbird story, especially if we're going to get a date or coordinates or something decisive that tells us 100% something is going to happen at Backlash. Now, obviously, there's no science to this. It's all theory and guesswork. It's all speculation until we do get the reveal. I'm happy to be wrong on so many elements of it, because one of the best parts of this is it is completely unpredictable. We don't know what the goals and the motives of the faction will be. We don't know the members of the faction, and we just don't know when it's going to be revealed. We have assumptions, we have our guesses, we don't know for sure. But I am so interested to hear your thoughts. Who do you think is going to be a part of this group? Who do you think that is going to be revealed potentially alongside Uncle Howdy? Do you think Uncle Howdy is going to be the leader of the group? Go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Peace!